He was special.
Ladies and gentlemen, Unk is back. Alexander Volkanovski, Ilya Topuria rematch is apparently set for UFC 314.
I just want to quickly, however you say that word. I know there's rumors now of Ilya versus Makhachev, but whether this fight happens or not, my point throughout this video still stands, I believe. So continue.
April 12th, per, you guessed it, Bo Nickel. I don't know why Bo Nickel is the new Ariel Helwani, why we're using him as a source, but no. Bo Nickel has said that he kind of leaked that this fight is happening. Then he kind of said, "Oh no, actually I didn't hear anything." He wasn't meant to say that. And the UFC basically told him, like, bro, you better fucking go on your podcast and say it was a mistake and you slipped up because we didn't want this to be officially revealed yet. But I believe this fight is official. I think it's signed. I think it's locked. 314 does not have a main event. I believe it was rumored recently, I think yesterday, that Kai Kara France versus Pantoja is going to be this card's co-main event, which is awesome. So Kai Kara France versus Pantoja with this as the main event is pretty cool. Um, and it just makes sense. It just makes sense. I know some people think, oh, Volk shouldn't get a rematch, even though he was one of the most dominant champions of the modern era. Oh, he shouldn't get a rematch though. I don't understand that. Like, I don't understand. Oh, Diego Lopez should get a title shot over Volk. Volk never got his title rematch. He was one of the most dominant champions in modern UFC. And if we're gonna go by the UFC's own rules, if Adesanya can get a rematch off of literally he lost to Strickland, got not an immediate rematch because they ended up doing Strickland Duplessis, but he literally got a rematch once he was ready to come back. He had no title defenses in his second reign, and they gave him a title rematch. He lost to Pereira. They gave him a rematch. He then lost to Strickland. Then they gave him another rematch. So if you think that is okay, you should be okay with Volkanovski getting a rematch against Topuria. But I really want to do this video because I want to talk about the fact that kind of sounded zesty the way I said it. I've been hanging out with John Jones too much, but I want to talk about the fact that I think Alexander Volkanovski has an extremely, extremely, extremely high chance of winning this fight. I know, guys. You could call me a glazer. You could say I'm delusional. I'm a massive Ilya Topuria fan. I'm a massive Volkanovski fan. I'm a fan of a lot of fighters. But when I see people say, oh, Volk's going to go in there and he's going to get knocked out even quicker. He's going to get knocked out in the first round, the first minute. I'm just thinking to myself, did you even watch their first fight? Did you even watch the fact that Volkanovski was doing super well in the boxing, super well on the feet? He was jabbing Topuria's face up. He was throwing in pretty good kicks. Now, don't get me wrong. I don't think that was like the best version of Volk. And I know excuses, whatever, but come on. He was coming off of a head kick 4 months prior. Um, I that wasn't the best version of Volkanovski. He was very jittery. One thing that I realized when I rewatched the fight, because I rewatched the whole fight about a week or two ago, he was pretty jittery. Like he was kind of jittery. Like when any exchange would happen, he was a bit jumpy. He was a bit, you know what I mean? Like he was just a bit reactionary. Whereas Volk is a lot more calm, a lot more. You saw him in the first Makhachev fight, super calm. Even when he kind of got dropped on his knee, super calm. He was pretty calm in the Yair Rodriguez fight when Rodriguez was throwing head kicks and very calm. Very calm in the Max Holloway trilogy. Even when he got dropped in one of those fights, I believe it was the second fight, he was pretty jittery in the Topuria fight, even though he was doing good. And that's a Volkanovski that's like not even in his best form. And he was still jabbing Topuria's face. He was still landing some decent kicks, some good body kicks, some good leg kicks. He didn't throw them enough because, I mean, the fight ended before he got a chance to. But I just actually think he's going to do a lot better in the rematch. At this point, he's going to be a lot more hungrier than Ilya Topuria. It's just a fact. It's just it's just an absolute fact in my opinion. Alexander Volkanovski is a guy that lost his belt and he's been gone for months and months and months. And he's only been training to get this guy. That's it. That's all he's been doing, probably. Not obviously he's been spending time with his family and stuff, but you know what I mean. He's known this is the guy I'm gonna face. This is the fight I want. He's been watching tape. He's been doing all these different things. Whereas Topuria's like, all right, he fought Holloway. Then there's rumors of him moving up, and he's talking about, I kind of, I want to fight lightweight, and maybe I'll fight Charles. Maybe I'll do this. Maybe I'll do that. He's not even really acknowledging that Volkanovski exists, which could be mind games. It could be whatever. Don't get me wrong. I don't think Ilya Topuria is an idiot. I don't think he's overlooking Volkanovski, but I don't think this is the Ilya Topuria that was hungry, starving to win the belt, finally win the belt. And then he did. And then he won the belt, and he's one of the most famous athletes now out of Spain. But at the same time, that comes with a loss of appetite. That comes with, oh, I'm a bit full now. I got the fame. I got another zero added to my bank account. I got this. I got that. I just beat Max Holloway, which is actually good for Volkanovski because that's another fight added to Volkanovski's tape study, if that makes sense. Volkanovski now has another fight that he can watch from because Topuria, that fight with Holloway was pretty good too. It wasn't like he went in there and dusted Holloway. Holloway did pretty good in that fight. Obviously, he got knocked out, and Topuria eventually his momentum built as the fight went on. But still, I do not think this fight is going to be this far apart. I don't know why people are upset that this. Look, I was upset. I was like, oh, they shouldn't do the Volkanovski rematch. Da 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 da. Then I just kept thinking about it, and I rewatched the first fight a couple of times, and I kept thinking, like, why are we disrespecting Volkanovski? Why? He got knocked out, okay. But, like, that's not the Volkanovski that we all know. That's not the guy that beat Yair Rodriguez. That's just not. That's not the guy that went to war with Islam Makhachev or beat Max Holloway in his prime 3 times, beat Jose Aldo, beat all these guys, Brian Ortega. That's not the same guy. And now that he's lost the belt, it might even be better for him. Because now he's going to want his belt. He's going to be hungry. And he's definitely going to be aware of the fact people are overlooking him. I'd imagine, I don't know the betting odds. He's probably a massive underdog. I think that's a mistake. I think that's a mistake. I'm not even saying I'm picking him. The whole point of the video is I don't know if I'm picking him, but I don't know if once the fight officially gets announced and I see some training footage. Hey man, that Lucas Tracy interview and a couple of his other interviews, I'm like, hey, Volk can he can talk you into the fact he's like, you know, it's gonna be different and we saw some things in the fight and I'm like, wait a minute. Does he know something we don't? Has he been working on this, working on that? I don't know. Ladies and gentlemen, I think Alexander Volkanovski could make one of the greatest comebacks. I mean, look, I will say this. I'll end on this. Whether or not he wins, if he wins this fight, it would be potentially the greatest comeback in UFC history. A fighter who 2 back-to-back KO losses. People said he's done. People said he's washed. I mean, the guy, and it's not just like he's not fucking Tony Ferguson. No offense to Tony Ferguson. We're talking about a guy that was and still is the featherweight GOAT. Got knocked out by Makhachev. Got knocked out by this young and hungry Ilya Topuria. Topuria made his name off of Volkanovski. Then Volk comes back. He's been in the dark. He's been in the shadows for a year now, a year plus. He comes back. Can you just imagine if he has a crazy performance? He just schools Topuria for 5 rounds. Imagine if he has a Max Holloway performance like he did against Calvin Kattar. Oh my! Can you guys Volk's doing emotes. Like Volkanovski like fucking says shit in his fights. He's like, "How did that feel, eh?" Or whatever the fuck. I'm just saying, it's not like insane to think Volk could win this fight. It's really not. Will I pick him? Right now, I'm leaning Topuria, but he's definitely not as hungry as the first fight. Whereas Volk is, Volk might have been overlooking Ilya Topuria, but he's definitely not overlooking him now. He's gonna know the threat that's in front of him. He's gonna, his chin is gonna have recovered as well. That's another factor. You know, dude, of course his chin was compromised when he got head kick KO'd. And then he's going in there against Topuria. He's all jittery, he's all this, he's all that. But now he's not going to have that jittery energy. He's going to have already been in the ring, or sorry, the octagon with this guy. He's going to know what this guy brings. And on top of that, and obviously he's going to be aware of the threat that's in front of him. I just think Volkanovski's going to do good. I think he could even win. I think Volkanovski has a massive chance. I think Unk can make his return. What do you guys think in the comments below? Make sure you guys like and sub. Do you think Unk has a chance of coming back? See you guys next time. I just want to do this video because I just think, man, people are like really, really, really overlooking like it's like real. They're really, really, really overlooking Volkanovski to where it's just like, hello, featherweight GOAT, like fucking went on a crazy winning streak, be some of the greatest fighters of all time. Well, at featherweight at least. Jose Aldo, Max Holloway. But he loses like one time to Ilya Topuria. Oh, he's washed. I guess we'll see. I guess we'll see at UFC 314 if he's washed or not. See you guys. Peace.